and is expected to commission by March 24. Further, the company has got allocation of 18 KTPA of green hydrogen production under SECI PLI tender at an average PLI of 28.89 kg per kg. Technical feasibility has been done and GIL business plan is under preparation. With respect to pump storage hydro project in Maharashtra, MOEF has given the terms of reference for the two sites and DPR is under preparation. That's all for this quarter. Now I request coordinator to open the line for Q&A sessions. We wish everybody to stay safe and healthy. Thank you. Handing over to operator.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir. And so my first question is, to allude to the fact that you're looking to sell more in the merchant in the coming quarters. So do you have a specific tie-up right now, or do you think the most of the sale will happen, the tie-ups will happen going forward, and a large part of it can be sold in the exchanges? Is that assumption right?
We are getting inquiries, so it will be. We are gearing up for the summer, meeting the summer demand. So we have started tying up the cargoes also. In the very recent past, we have tied up about 5 cargoes. So and that is what we plan to tie up further cargoes also.
A question on the PPA side, sir. PPA side, purchase.
Yeah, we are getting the inquiries also, and the PPA sides also from the various DISCOM.
My second question is on the hydrogen production, where you won the PLI scheme, PLI incentives. So any tentative tie-up where do you want to sell the hydrogen? Is it for export? And any tentative capex number, or is it too early right now?
It's too early right now, but we are looking at both the market, export market, more particularly export market, as well as domestic market also.
Mm-hmm. My last question, my sister, one clarification on the slide number 16. I think the gas, it mentioned the gas plant generation this particular quarter is 1469 MU, while the SUGEN is at 643, SUGEN at 136, TGEN is at 131. It doesn't sum up. Is there something wrong with there? Something?
Yeah, so we have corrected it.
Okay, so it is lower, right? It's not 1469. Am I right?
910.
Understood. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Our next question is the line of Swati Junjunwala from BOB Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking the question. My first question is on the LNG gains that you mentioned that you adjusted for LNG and merchant power sales around 478 crores. So my question is, should we not treat it as an exceptional item, given that the LNG sales that we were doing were on account of high gas prices in the market, right? And we were paying penalty for not producing power at that time. So should we treat it as an exceptional item, or should we treat it as a normal course of the business for the last year? That's my first question.
It's a normal course of business. So Swati, just to clarify, it is basically we procure cargoes considering the merchant market and the prices which are prevailing. So to take benefit of the merchant prices, we typically book the cargoes as we have done this quarter also and going for the upcoming quarters. But basically because of the international prices going very high, it was economically beneficial to sell cargoes rather than convert that into electricity. And that's why the cargoes were sold and not converted into electricity and sold in the merchant market. So it's not an exceptional item per se, it's part of the regular business which we do. Only thing was the cargoes, selling cargoes were much beneficial compared to converting into electricity. As far as your question is concerned in terms of penalty for non-supply, I think that was there is no penalty involved in non-supply. We have fulfilled all our obligations under the PPA.
Understood. So, what should we assume as an approximation for a steady state profit, given that this quarter we've done something around 370 crores, but there was a patch in the middle where every quarter we were having a very high run rate of PAT, 500, 600 crores. So, should we take a 350 to 400 type of a figure per quarter as a steady state profit? Is that fair to assume?
So we can't give the number, but if you look at the past history also, in Q3 and Q4 generally demand is lower. So always our H1 is always better than the H2.
And I think if you look at the underlying business, apart from this LNG and merchant, the underlying business has performed very well on all the parameters, be it distribution, be it generation in terms of renewables is concerned. So underlying business continues to do well. As far as merchant is concerned, it is all about the merchant prices available in the market and the gas prices, corresponding gas prices. So typically what we have seen historically is that Q1, Q2 gives good merchant prices because of which there has been higher profitability for the merchant market.
Right. Yes, operationally, if I see, T&D losses have gone down and our generation is also up, but the disconnect where I am getting is that we have shown a 46% degrowth in PAT to 370 crores. That is where actually the whole disconnect was.
This is mainly because of this LNG and merchant gain of 478 crores as comparable quarter of last year.
So as we explained earlier on the last question, it was mainly because of a certain geopolitical issues which came up in Q3 of last year, because of which LNG prices increased significantly, and that's where we sold cargoes. But if you look at historically, if you go slightly in the past, Q3 has always been subdued in terms of merchant prices are concerned.
Understood. All right. So, going forward, what is your opinion on the gas price? Do you expect that next 4 quarters the gas prices to be benign, or do you expect volatility? Like, where are you at right now on that?
See, currently it is sub $10 per MMBTU. So we expect that the similar trend will continue going forward also.
Got it. So, is there a threshold that you can give us under of a gas price at which you decide whether or not to produce power and whether or not to trade in it? Is the threshold? Can you give me that number?
If you look at the current power prices on exchange, which is going very strong right now, so considering that strong power prices, we thought sub $10 is a good price, I would say, in terms of contracting the cargoes.
Got it. Understood. Okay. Next question is on the distribution side. So there were talks of Pondicherry distribution coming up for bidding. So is there any update on that? And are you looking at any other areas for distribution licensing or franchising as of now?
We are looking at it, but as of now, there is no news about the Pondicherry distribution.
Understood. And lastly, on the capex front, so how much capex have we done in 9 months FY24? And going forward, what is our capex guidance for the next 2 years?
See, for the 9 months, for example, in Ahmedabad license distribution, we incur about 1,200 crores capex. For franchise distribution, we incur about 170 crores capex. So these are the capex we incur in the license distribution area, and we have given the guidance also about 2,000 crores capex we generally plan to do in the one financial year. So this guidance continues for the next year also.
Understood. And if I can just squeeze one last question, could you give us the EBITDA breakup business-wise?
So, in fact, we have started giving the segment-wise profit also. So, for example, generation, we are given about 229 crores EBITDA, and renewable generation is about 187 crores, and transmission distribution is about 735 crores. That is what we have reported in the results also.
Thank you. Ms. Swati, may we request you to rejoin the queue as there are several participants waiting for their turn. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, please limit your questions to one or two per participant. Should you have a follow-up question, we would request you to rejoin the queue. Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Aniket Mittal from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. May I request you to use your handset, please? Your audio is not very clear, sir.
Is this better?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Firstly, just to understand on the tie-ups that you've made, could you talk about the duration for which these 5 cargoes have been tied up, and from a long-term perspective as well, let's say CY24 and CY25, what's the current gas tie-up that we have?
Tie-up is up to to meet the demand up to June. This June Q1 of the next quarter, I would say. And the long-term tie-up, we are just now the prices is stabilizing, so we are contemplating of booking for the longer tenor also. So that is what. But price it depends on all gas prices being stabilized.
So Aniket, just to add, we have done a long-term cargo tie-up for 4 years for calendar year 24, 25, 26 and 27, wherein each calendar year we have tied up 3 cargoes, which we have done in past. This additional 5 cargoes is for this calendar year, basically, which will be supplied in Q4 and Q1 of next year. So we are also looking at booking additional cargoes on future period.
Sure. And these additional 5 cargoes that you've tied up, would this be sufficient to meet your own distribution demand, or is there a element of you trying to do merchant sales as well?
It is for both the requirement, for our own distribution as well as for merchant market also.
So if you remember, we also have a long-term contract with IOCL for supply of gas for our distribution business. So these cargoes would be partially utilized for our distribution business and partially for the merchant business.
So for our own distribution, let's say requirement, typically how many cargoes would we need?
For the full year, it is about 10 cargoes.
And currently, you've got 3 plus 5, which is 8 for the next 2 quarters.
5 plus 2 already we have booked earlier. So about 7 cargoes we have right now till June.
Till June. And 3 is for the long term, is it? Those 3 cargoes are going for long term.
Yeah.
So total 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the second question was, on the renewables front, from a long-term perspective, we have the same to reach about 4-5 gigawatts. But if I look at the bidding that's been happening, particularly on the utility scale projects, our participation has not been that much. So if you could just talk about how are we looking at that market, how do we aim to reach that 5 gigawatt number, let's say in the next few years?
If you look at the solar, standalone solar and wind bidding, the prices is very competitive. So our focus is more on the RE-RTC solution kind of a things, where we can have we can provide the RTC power, and we will have a better price also. So that is what we are looking at. Our strategy is to bid more for the RE-RTC kind of a solutions. Plus we are also developing the various sites. We are in the process of acquiring lands also in the state of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka kind of things. We are gearing up for so land is the most important thing for any solar and wind project. So that also activity we are doing. And so plan is to bid more on the RE-RTC kind of a solution kind of a projects.
Okay. But do you find these utility scale bids?
Mr. Mittal, may we request you to rejoin the question queue for follow-up questions? There are several participants waiting, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
Our next question is from the line of Nikhil Nigania from Alliance Bernstein. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity. My first question is regarding the pump storage projects. Firstly, we understand from the peers that it takes about 6 years to build them. So related to that, would you agree to the timelines? And second, do you have any tie-up plans, or is it all untied? You want to go into construction and look for PPAs later? If you could share more color on the pumped storage side.
So yeah, it's a 5 to 6 years time is required for the construction of the pump storage project. And in terms of we have identified the site with the Maharashtra government. So 2 sites are available. And as we mentioned in the call, MOF has approved to issue the TOR. We are in the process of preparing a detailed project report for the 2 sites in Maharashtra.
But on the power sales side, do you see the risk of batteries possibly becoming cheaper, which could impact because these are untied projects right now?
If you look at the global scenario, in fact, not in India but other part of the world, so pump storage hydro is a more cost effective as compared to the battery, and it will provide the storage for the longer period of time as compared to the battery. So ideally, the pump storage is a more economical and more acceptable solution for the storage.
And I think the cost differential right now is pretty large. I think 40 to 50% is the differential in terms of costing is concerned. So we feel that there is still headroom available for pump storage to be in place. And India is a place where there are still a significant opportunity in pump storage. So before battery, I think pump storage would also be beneficial for the country as a whole to supply RTC power, renewable.
Understood. Thank you. My second and last question then is on the gas power plant side. Would you be able to give any color in terms of, if the gas power sale opportunities you guys are seeing, what kind of pricing are you seeing in the market? And in terms of costing, what is the variable generation cost, hence the spread that is visible in the market?
So basically, if I look at $10 as a gas price at which I am able to procure, typically my variable cost would be around 6 rupees. And basically, if I look at the merchant prices right now, which is typically a lower demand period as of now, they are hovering around 7 rupees. So as of now, also if I sell merchant market, I will be able to generate some profit out of it. As we have seen in the past, merchant prices tends to go up from March onwards when summer starts till July, August. So basically, we are looking at a high demand scenario for next 6 months, which will increase the prices in the merchant market. And that's where we are looking at selling additional merchant power in the merchant market.
Understood. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, a reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Our next question is from the line of Anuj Upadhyay from Investec. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Very good morning, sir. So firstly, on the T&D losses across your SMK division, so how that trajectory is moving. Secondly, as we are moving to a high demand kind of a phase, so our sense is it becomes a bit difficult to bring down the AT&C or T&D losses during high demand kind of time period. So how do we try and manage to bring down the losses?
In SMK, our T&D loss is around 21%. So, and every year, if you look at, we are able to achieve the reduction in at least 4% reduction every year in last 3-4 years per year. So, same trend we expect to continue in SMK area also. And in Agra and Bhiwandi, it is AT&C losses around 10% kind of a thing. So, we expect every year AT&C losses will further improve by 50 to 75 basis points in Agra and Bhiwandi also.
Okay. And just a follow-up on the earlier question, sir, where we had targeted to scale up our capacity to 5 gigawatt. Currently, our portfolio, in terms of renewable services, and our current portfolio would be hovering in the range of 2 to 2.2 gigawatt. So, any inorganic route as well, which we are aggressively looking at to scale up the capacity?
Inorganic route also we are evaluating. We are evaluating inorganic route also. Both organic as well as inorganic, both front we are working right now. Yeah. So on the organic route, we are we are bidding for the new projects. Also, recently we have bid for a railway project, 100 megawatt railway RERTC solution. So we are the L1 bidder in that railway project.
So Anuj, there is a good pipeline of projects wherein we have bid, and we are hopeful that we will be able to get them. But since they are not in public, we will not be able to disclose. But there is a good pipeline in terms of organic and inorganic is concerned. Inorganic, of course, is an opportunistic play wherein you will have to look at the cost and the price at which you will be able to acquire. So we are focusing on getting 5 gigawatt as a capacity under operational projects, and that is going well for us as of now.
Thank you, sir. And lastly, anything on the thermal space actually which we are looking for an acquisition? Because our balance sheet is one of the strongest in the industry. So any thought on that one?
So there is no plan to set up any thermal greenfield project. Any opportunities available for the acquisition, we are ready. We are look at like SKS kind of opportunities, SKS Power kind of opportunities. We are keen to look at.
Okay. That is helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sumit Kishore from Axis Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. I have two questions. My first question is, could you give us a sense of your LNG tie-up in terms of MMFCM?
So may I request you to use your handset, sir? Your audio is muffled, sir.
Is it better now?
Slightly better, sir.
Yeah, so my first question is on the LNG volumes. Could you give us a sense of the volume in MMSCMD? Instead of number of cargoes, it will help us do our calculations better. And so basically for the full year, on a full fiscal basis, from your PPA, from your offtake arrangement locally, how much MMSCMD of gas would be available on an annual basis, and how much is available via the cargo numbers that you mentioned?
So Sumit, basically one cargo is typically 3.2 TBTU. As far as the entire mathematics is concerned, would be helpful if we can do it offline. It will require some detailing onto that.
Got it. So one cargo is 3.2. What is the unit you mentioned?
Trillion British thermal units, TBTU.
Okay, got it. The second question is, can you please break up this delta of 478 crores into LNG and merchant separately? And what is the total merchant volume in terms of generation that was sold in Q3 and 9 months of FY24? And correspondingly, what is the total merchant gain in 9 months FY24 and 3Q FY24?
So see, basically, as we explained in the earlier call also, that we look at whenever we procure the gas, LNG, we have options of either selling the LNG or we generate the power and sell in the merchant market. So last year it was better economically better for us to sell LNG. This year it is better to sell in the merchant. So we look at the combined, not on a combined basis. We look at both merchant and either or basically kind of a situation. So either we sell LNG or we sell the power in the merchant market. So we look at it on a combined basis.
Yeah, but you would have, what is the total merchant units which were sold in 9 months period, if you can disclose that?
We will provide the offline details offline. Okay. Currently, we don't have the right now numbers, but we will provide the information offline.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Dhruv Muchal from HDFC AMC. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So my question was on the demand growth. Very healthy demand growth across the circles. This is also visible across the country, but just wanted to understand any incremental insights that you can give on demand. How much do you think is underlying based on your internal analysis? How much is probably do you think because of weather? Because it seems the weather was not very helpful this time, at least from probably helpful from demand perspective. So just some incremental insights that you can share. What's driving this demand?
See, industrial demand is, if you look at it's very good. If you can, I can give the breakup of the demand circle-wise. For example, Ahmedabad is grown by about 6%. Surat and Dahej, which is more of an industrial town, about 9%, about 8 to 9% demand is growing. So I think industrial demand is growing pretty well. That is what we can say.
So I think, Dhruv, Ahmedabad is more of residential, whereas Surat and Dahej is more of industrial. So if I look at residential, which is Ahmedabad, is around 6%, and industrial also is growing at 8%. So I mean, basically it is both the demand or both the segments are performing well in terms of demand is concerned.
But any sense, so industrial is understood, but any sense, is it weather? I mean, in your own internal assessment, how much is weather playing a role in this demand, or is it not very significant?
Definitely weather is playing the role. Suppose in case of winter is not that good, I would say. I mean, Ahmedabad is reasonably not that severe as compared to the last year. So demand is strong this winter in Ahmedabad also.
Okay.
So weather is playing the key role for the demand.
Got it. Sure, sir. That was the only question, sir. Thank you so much and all the best, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Our next question is from the line of Paramveer V from Avendus Spark. Please go ahead.
This is Bharani. My first question is on diesel.
Sir, may I request you to use your handset, sir? You're not audible, sir.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just wanted to find out how much are you expecting as PLF from DGen in the next 6 months, that is till June, with the new 5 cargoes that you have booked?
No, we will not able to. Means there is we anticipate a very strong demand in the summertime, but exact numbers would be difficult to mention.
So Bharani, we typically don't give guidance per se on a strategic basis, as we discussed that we have booked cargoes and we would look to book additional cargoes depending on how demand and the prices remain. But particular numbers will be very difficult for us to give.
Okay. So you'll not be able to give how much megawatt this 5 cargoes can fire from DGen. Is that possible to give?
No, I can tell you that one cargo is typically for 50 megawatts for the full year. So basically, one cargo can generate electricity 50 megawatts every month for 12 months. That's the capacity of one cargo.
If you are planning to operate only for 6 months, it can fire 100 megawatts for 6 months.
That's right.
100 megawatt per month for 6 months.
Yes, that's right.
Continuously for 6 months. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So this is related to the first question. So how much would be the landed cost at $9.69 for these cargoes, and how much will be your variable cost per unit?
It is a landed cost, no? 9.6.
It will include tax, transportation. So you're including all that?
Yeah, it will include the transportation also.
Okay. My second question is on capex. So while you had given the guidance of 2,000 crores for franchise and license distribution, first question is how sustainable is this 1,500 odd crore for the Ahmedabad Surat license distribution over the next 2 to 3 years? Is it for 1 or 2 years, or can we expect this over more time period?
At least next 2-3 years it is sustainable.
Okay. A second question on capex is how much capex will renewables and separately hydrogen and other new areas will require in the next 2 to 3 years per annum?
So renewable, it depends on the project we take. Like for example, this 300 megawatt solar project, we project cost about 1,600 crores. That is what we are going to spend for our Execute 12 project, which is going to come up before September 25. Capex plan is about 2,500 crores. So those kind of capex we plan to incur going forward. And air power project, so 175 megawatt air power project is about project cost about 1,000 crores.
So Bharani, as of now, the projects which we have under pipeline, we expect to utilize capex or to do capex of around 2,500 crores per year for next 2 years. And depending on additional project wins, this number can go up.
This 2,500 per year for next 2 years is on renewables you're talking about, right?
That's right.
Okay. And finally, on the same capex point, how much per year on the new initiatives like green hydrogen, etc.?
So as of now, it is too early to comment. Since it is under conceptualization phase, it would be difficult to comment on that. As and when we take the final decision, we will update on the capex part.
Okay, got it. That's it from my side. Thank you and all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Our next question is from the line of Satyadeep Jain from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Just a couple of questions. One on LNG. Just a clarification on Bharani's question also. When you say delivered cost of 9.7 something, is that delivered cost of gas to your gas plant? That includes pipeline transportation, regasification, everything?
It is up to the pot. This is $9.9 kind of a thing. Is up to the pot level, up to pot.
So one more thing. This is at the Dahej terminal where we have regasification capacity. There is not much of transportation cost involved for the gas, which is landing at Dahej port.
Okay, but this does include regasification costs, right?
Yes.
And is this some kind of opportunistic cargo you've been able to book compared to the spot prices we see, some discounted cargoes?
So typically we float tenders in the international market and then we book cargoes. So it typically is based on the the international market prices.
Okay. Just a second question on any update on the progress on the application for parallel licensing in Maharashtra?
So we have provided all information. We reply all queries. So we are waiting for the regulators to take it forward. So MSCDCL and the regulators to take it forward. So we are in fact, I think post-election some momentum we can see on this particular front.
Quickly on the returns you mentioned, the returns are not attractive yet on solar wind. Despite the fall in module prices and all, you're not seeing any improvement in returns. And compared to that, when you say RE-RTC, is it basically leasing some storage and then combining? Is it oversizing? What kind of RE-RTC are you seeing greater returns in?
It's a oversizing. So it's a oversizing thing. So and tariff is better for RE-RTC kind of projects.
Okay. Typically, it depends on the location which you have identified, wherein you can get higher PLF for wind and solar, and then use that location for supplying RE-RTC. So it is very specific to the locations which you have, and then you have to customize your solution for RE-RTC. If it is a lower wind speed or lower radiation location, you will have to put some battery storage also, which would be costlier. And that's why we are identifying locations, as Saurabh told earlier in the call, that we are identifying locations for which can provide better solutions for RE-RTC, and that's where we are competitive in the bidding stages, and our IR returns are also better.
On the plain vanilla solar, wind and all, you've not seen any improvement in IRR yet?
So
pricing.
I think as of now we have not seen much.
It's a low team kind of IRR is possible, means one can see. But in case of this RE-RTC kind of a solution, one mid-teen IRR is mid-teen and above mid-teen IRR is also possible.
So it's an opportunistic play. If you look at Torrent Power 300 megawatt project, wherein it was tied up when the module prices were around 19 cents, but we were able to get better realization in modules, because of which the returns have improved significantly on that project. But it's more of a opportunistic play rather than taking a strategic call on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Our next question is from the line of Anuj Upadhyay from Investec. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again, sir. So what would be the regulatory asset as on date?
So, Anuj, I think regulatory assets we typically disclose only on the year end. It will be very difficult to give on a quarterly number because it keeps on changing depending on the prices at which you procure power. So it's better to look at it on a yearly number.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you very much for joining Torrent Power's earnings call. We wish everybody to stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. On behalf of Torrent Power Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.